Hi everybody, welcome back to Chee-Tash. My name is Chris. Hey, I'm just making this video just as an addition to the prototype video that came out because I found out something about what we read from the Mozilla documentation as far as it comes to how the prototype is treated differently if it's from a constructor or from the object. So I believe it was here, okay, yeah, so there is a distinction between an object's prototype and the prototype property on constructor functions. And if you guys remember from that video, I was kind of saying, like, I don't really know what this part means here. The prototype property on constructor functions. So I think I finally figured it out. And shout out to W3 Schools. Their their page on JavaScript object prototypes. And I'm going to kind of attempt to show that here. Hopefully I do a good job of it. So if you guys remember from the last video, I created this class called empty. This class has a constructor, and we'll probably talk about this in another video once we get into classes. The constructor has one property. It's taking in one parameter, say, and then this dot say is going to be equal to say, so whatever you pass in. This pertains to this class, empty. So what did we do down here? We created this new object from empty passing in by. So essentially what you're doing in here, let's do hello. Essentially, this is being passed into the constructor when you create this object. So new. Now, if you do new dot, let's say new dot say, what do you think that should print in here? Let me just move this up just so you guys can see. New dot say. Chris, that's interesting. Oh, right. But no, it shouldn't print that. Hang on. I'm sorry, guys. New. Let's clear this. New dot say. Empty dot say. Not printing, huh? New. I know that prints something. New dot speak. Unless, let me just do this as a precaution. Sometimes CodePen gets hung up here. All right, so now we have a fresh CodePen thingamajig. Empty dot say. Okay, there we go. So now what if it's new dot say? What should this print? It should print hello, right? Okay, I'm not crazy. Do you guys see why this was able to do what it did? Because hello, yeah. We instantiated this empty class with hello. So hello is now assigned to this dot say, right? So when you call new dot say, it's whatever you pass into here because that's what you're passing into the constructor. The constructor constructs the object. Okay, we're getting it. Where the prototype comes in is prototype is a property of the constructor. So look at what I did here. Empty.prototype.name. So the prototype property name. So it's exactly what we did, up here when we created this new empty.length property. This length property on the new empty object. So in this situation, we're adding a property to the empty constructor, and we're assigning it Chris. That's me, Chris. So if I say if I say new.name now, look at that, we get Chris. Now, when I tried this, if I went new.prototype.name, or excuse me, let's do last name equals Johnson. You see, we get an error there. Cannot set properties of undefined, setting last name. And I think the reason that this doesn't work is because there isn't a constructor for new. I mean, yes, its prototype is empty, but empty is the class that we defined with the constructor. So prototype, what did it say again? Prototype property on constructor function. So essentially what you're doing is you're adding this name property to the constructor. And when you create the new object, you have access to that name property, as we saw there. If you try to do it to new, it's not going to work because I did not create a class of new. New is an object of this class empty, so you have to add the properties to this constructor, much like they do in here, where it says, we also learned that you cannot add a new property to an existing object constructor. To add a new property to a constructor, you must add it to the constructor function. Right? And that's what you're doing when you use the prototype property, because prototype is a property of the constructor function. JavaScript prototype property allows you to add new properties to object constructors. See, this is kind of like exactly what we did. So you add this nationality property, and now it becomes available in there. Hopefully I unconfused you guys on some things with prototypes. Let me know in the comments section below. Again, my name is Chris. Hopefully this cleared things up. This has been Chee-Tash. Take care.